Okay, so up next we have one of the most important presentations of the day, focused on how we can support the next generation of talent in the creative, digital and tech sector. Now this subject is the linchpin of what we are trying to achieve in boosting our local sector and economy, and Dan Wallman is a vital part in that. For those that don't know him, Dan Wallman has been a leader in creative and digital skills for over 20 years. He was the lead on the Sussex Local Skills Plan, and in response to those findings, he founded TechNative Digital in 2022, with the mission to close the digital skills gap. The TechNative Academy focuses on designing industry-led software development bootcamps for adults aiming to move into tech careers, and also leading projects to help people move into tech careers and to support schools and colleges to collaborate more closely with the tech industry. And so, I leave you in Dan's good hands. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Donna. That was quite an intro, thank you. I try. Thank you for coming to this session. So, as Donna said, this is going to be all about skills and how we can, as an industry and as a sector, help the next generation of talent to come through and create pipelines through into our businesses, but into the sector as a whole, which is going to be super important for Eastbourne, super important for East Sussex, that we keep our talent in the county, in our towns, and contributing to our economy. So just a bit about me and TechNative. So as Donna said, we do lots of different projects. We get people into skills careers through boot camps. We're just launching the Tech Finishing School to help people who have tech skills but can't get into work. We do a lot of work with the local authorities. We had a Tech Teachers Day, trying to train teachers up by engaging them with the industry. Anything essentially that brings the industry and the education sector closer together and helps people get into tech careers, that's what we want to do. Go through the slides. There we go. So, just wanted to give just a bit of context. It might not feel like this right now, and we have been in a global downturn. However, the UK tech industry does remain a massive success story. It's a national success story that I don't think gets shouted out enough. It's the third biggest tech economy globally, just behind US and China. It's only the third to be have worth of more than $1 trillion. There's 2 million people employed in the industry, about 6% of the UK workforce. It's grown 800% in the last decade. It's got more unicorns than any other European country. So we are punching well above our weight. So it should be all roses, but there are problems. And there is a skills gap which is recognised. There's studies that show 81% of companies think that they are struggling to get the right talent. There's 50,000 tech vacancies still going unfilled. It'd be interesting to look at what level those jobs are and the seniors, juniors and so on. But there's still a skills gap, even in these straitened times. There's still not enough people with the right skills to fill the need of the companies in the sector. It'd be interesting to know how you feel in Eastbourne about this. So the skills gap, what is the skills gap? In the work that I did on the local skills plan, I spoke to pushing on 100 different employers in different ways, and across Sussex, and I heard about what their problems were, and there were some really consistent messages that came out from the businesses. They felt that people coming in straight out of university didn't have up-to-date skills. And in fact, when you look deeper at the skills in the qualifications, in the GCSEs, all the way through up to degrees, they're really struggling to keep up with the pace of change. And there's some systemic issues here about education. How do we keep education and qualifications relevant and up to date in teaching the skills that employers need? I think that's an absolutely central question. Careers advisors and teachers really do need help to understand all the roles that are in the industry now. How can we as a sector help that happen? Definitely short-term hiring is something that I've come across. We're not recruiting juniors at the moment. It's something that I've heard way too much. So my question back to the employers, if you're not recruiting juniors, how are you creating the talent pipeline? How are you building your company, ensuring against ups and downs by having people coming through your company with the right, not just talent, but culture and understanding of your business. There's real diversity challenges in the sector, which I'll go on to in a moment. There's a lack of female tech workers, there's a lack of ethnic minority representation, and the impact of AI is as yet unknown, but it's certainly changing the skills environment, it's certainly changing the skills that we're all going to need at work. It's helping us, it's also, maybe some jobs will be either different or not there. And it's certainly threatening, I think, the junior pathways through, as so many of the jobs that young people did can now be done by AI, and it's only going to get better at doing those jobs. How are we going to make sure that young people still have pathways? It's a key question. The diversity, when you dig into it, women make up 19% of the UK tech workforce, not nearly enough. It's less at board level. Only 1% of all funding VC funding goes to all female teams, which is a really, really stark statistic. That says a lot about the VC world. It says all sorts of things that need change. There's ethnic minority underrepresentation, again at board level that's even more. And if you look into the education pathways, you can see where this is coming from. Over 3/4 of the students on Sussex tech courses at 16 to 18 were white boys. So the lack of diversity in education. 10% of digital apprentices are female, so you're not getting girls coming through into digital apprenticeship roles either. So you can see why when you get into the workplace, there's going to be a problem. I think it's really important for us as professionals and for a sector to start to address some of these issues. How can we do that is the big question. What do we do now? How can we make change in the sector? And it's not just for ethical reasons, it's also for business reasons, because diverse teams, we know, create better businesses, more profitable businesses, better decision making, everything else that goes with it. Forward. Sorry if they're a bit wordy and you can't write it. So I wanted to kind of open up people's minds to the diverse routes into tech. People might think it's kind of degree students, computer science degree students. There's so many more routes into tech and so many more diverse routes in. There's now T-levels, which are 16 to 18 programs like A-levels, but technical. There's computer science route, obviously. There's apprenticeships. There's boot camps like the ones that we run. And there's the self-taught enthusiasts who come through, and the career changes, and people who have taught themselves online and all these kind of things. And I'm sure as businesses you've met all of these people in your time. So what the skills employers are looking for? Well, every business that I've spoken to, they never mention the technical skills. That's a given, that they want people with technical skills who can be useful, who can use the right tech to create the products they need. But that's not what they're looking for. It's the soft skills or the power skills. So, here's just a few of them. Resilience, problem solving. And I spoke about this to the young people this morning and asked them to map their skills against the jobs. But resilience, problem solving, do they understand business? Do they understand the product cycle that they're going through? Can they talk to clients? Can they think creatively? Do they have the communication and the teamwork skills? These are the skills that we need to embed in young people, and not just young people, but everyone who wants to get into the industry to actually be successful and help us grow our businesses. So I wanted to give you a few examples of businesses that are taking the lead on this. I spoke to a company called RDT, an insurance tech company in Kent. It was led by their HR director, who had to really sell this vision to the senior leadership, but she did, and she was really passionate about it, that they didn't want to recruit a senior developer again. They only wanted to recruit juniors and train them up. And for 3 years, they haven't recruited a senior developer, despite growing, despite their company being successful. They've only recruited juniors, put them through this kind of sandbox training program, trained them up. She likened it to being on the bench on a football team and then being promoted to the main team when a vacancy came up. And she said that they've saved hundreds of thousands of pounds on recruiter fees in that time, because they had their own internal training program. And those people coming through have got their culture, and they've got their talent, and they've got their skills that they've learned in-house. She was really evangelical about it and really inspired me when I met her. DevApps and Certain are two Brighton-based companies that sponsored our bootcamp. They co-designed the bootcamp with us. We trained up people to go specifically into their roles. And now 5 of those 9 boot campers are now employed and on client work. They invested time, energy and money in doing it themselves outside of the normal skill system, and it's been really, really successful for them. A third example is in Worthing, a digital marketing agency, Fresh Egg, who started their own internal academy and started training their own people, and funded it all through client work, and they paid them from day one. And train them themselves. So there's ways to do this as businesses outside of the skill system, but there's also ways to engage with the skill system. So I just wanted to reflect on the fact that, in East Sussex, we do have a really, really thriving tech ecosystem. I put a few companies up on the screen, but there are loads, and it's a growing community, it's a really strong community, and there's a lot of talent and skills and knowledge within those organisations that should be shared with organisations, and helping to lay the foundation, not just for their own businesses, but for the sector as a whole. And I think it's that mindset of actually, how can we pool all the knowledge, how can we pool the knowledge and expertise that we have in the sector and locally to keep young people here, and to give jobs that are really rewarding and inspiring and provide inspiring careers. So there are many ways in which you can do this. There's a few of them up here on the screen. So mentoring, super important, whether that means mentoring someone who's at the start of their career, who's actually working in the sector already and helping them progress with their career and helping them grow and develop. Or it could mean providing mentoring through a program that works with schools or universities. But this has been proven as one of the most important things for any professional or tech professional or digital professional is getting mentoring, and I think that counts even up to senior levels. Having a mentor is one of the most important things, and if you haven't thought about that, it's a really good way to get started and a really rewarding way to actually give something back. East Sussex has a sector skills group where I know they're really keen to have digital businesses come together, and they meet, if not monthly, then bi-monthly. It's really important to have industry leading the skills agenda. If you're sitting here as an employer and you're thinking, well, I'm not getting what I want out of the skills system, or you might be thinking it's brilliant, it's really important you get involved and help the skills system to develop the right curriculum and to deliver projects that really work for your business and work for the sector. Guest speaking, you can go into schools, you can go into colleges and universities and give a whole room of students the benefit of your knowledge and experience. Work experience, again, super, super important. This is where young people get their first taste, where they're really inspired to see what actually happens in the workplace. If you haven't offered work experience to young people, it's not as hard as it sounds, it's not as scary as it might seem to you. You can get help with this, and I know East Sussex are keen to help. The Transform service, which I'll tell you about in a moment, can help you plan around it. I would really, really encourage you to think about how you can open up opportunities. It might not be just a single young person sitting at a desk. It could be that you do an open doors day when people come into your work. It can be that you offer teachers the opportunity to come and shadow you so that they can learn. There's loads of different ways that you can use your workspace and all the things that you go on to help build education. Support curriculum design. That might be getting involved in a boot camp and helping design one of those. It might be going into school and setting some live briefs for projects, so that you might have something that needs doing at your business and you want to set a challenge to a group of students, a group of A-level students or a group of computer science students. So there's loads of different ways in which you can actually get your thoughts through into that sort of student experience and start to shape education, because I think we know just the qualifications on their own aren't going to be enough. They have to enrich it with all this other really great stuff. And that's all in the room. And that's all going on in your businesses day to day, and that's how you're going to really get the talent that you need coming out of school, university and college. And you can actually take direct, sort of immediate action by employing an apprentice, or employing a boot camper, or creating a vacancy for someone who is new to the sector and doesn't have the normal experience. Think about how you shape your job descriptions. Think about what you ask for in your job descriptions. Are you excluding people who actually might have the talent and the potential to be future leaders in your organisation? Do you always say needs 2 years experience? Or can you employ on potential rather than qualifications and prior experience? I think this is really essential to undoing some of the diversity issues that we're seeing, and this circle that we've got where only certain type of people are getting the opportunities to go into tech careers. There should be careers for all. So skills boot camps, just wanted to bring your attention to those. I know that East Sussex Local Authority are hoping to have direct funding for skills boot camps in the future, where local providers can offer these. If you haven't heard of them before, they're a bit different to normal courses in that they don't need to have formal qualifications. They can have industry certifications like Microsoft Azure or Agile or other kind of industry qualifications. They're not funded on qualifications, they're funded on how many people go into work and get interviews. So our job as skills providers and boot camps is to get people ready for work, and they can actually be run by an employer. So they don't have to be run by training providers, or they can be run in partnership. So if you're a business that's struggling to get the right talent through, why not build your own boot camp? Why not partner with a training provider and build your own pathways, and potentially that can be funded so that you don't have to actually fund that yourself, and you can get this pipeline of talent coming through. Sorry that's a bit small, the writing. If you want to ask me later about them, I'll be around. So yeah, I'm a big believer in boot camps. They're mostly, the government ones are only up to 16 weeks long, so they're short, really intensive, and I believe you can get the same value out of that as a degree if you put it into it, and you can get really work ready. And I think we've proved that, seeing the journey that our boot campers went on. So yeah, boot camps are a brilliant way to get started. If you want to find out more about skills and you want a bit of advice, Suzanne at the back there, hello, is at the Careers Hub stall. The Transform service is a free service for businesses. They can provide you, they're there to provide advice on how to get involved in skills, how do you take on work placements, could you take on an apprentice, could you get involved in boot camps, and you know, I think that I would encourage you all to go up to the Careers Hub store if you really, really want to make a difference and really, really want to get involved but don't know where to start. The Transform service is there. Take that opportunity. Go and find them. Go and find Suzanne. She can give you some really good advice. So we're putting this into action, some of this, with the East Sussex Careers Hub. We bid for, or the Careers Hub bid for some national funding to do a project that was how do we get more young people into digital careers was the challenge. And so we thought, well, what a good idea, we'll do a schools competition where each school has to come up with a digital product that they design that uses collaboration between creative, tech, business, where they have to come up with a digital product, they have to do a marketing campaign around it, they have to do a business plan around it. So we're trying to get young people to think about tech careers more than just being computing, sitting at a screen, which of course it is. And it involves teams, and it involves collaboration, and it involves understanding about business, and it involves understanding about people. So this is going to kick off this winter. We're going to do a load of school assemblies. Each school will have, each of the 10 schools will have an employee mentor. So we are looking for industry professionals from East Sussex to get involved in this and to be mentors to the schools to help that group come up with a digital product. So if you're sitting here thinking, yeah, I could help this group of young people create something, I've got a lot to offer, this is a really easy way for you to get involved. It involves about a meeting with a group at the beginning, middle and end of the project, and then there's a big award ceremony in June where we're going to award the best product. So we're looking for judging panel for that as well, businesses who might want to give prizes. So there's millions of ways for you to get involved in this. Come up to me afterwards. Actually, I'll put up on the screen a QR code in a moment for you to say if you want to do it. So this is just what I was saying, yeah, so lots of stuff going on with this project that is going to be really, really exciting. I'm so excited we've got this. It's one of 8 national funded projects, so it's great that it's here in East Sussex, and a really good opportunity. Just wanted to say about what we're doing to try and change things in tech. We are running boot camps, and we're looking for employer sponsors. We're also looking for employers who want to take on people from our programs. So we've just launched the Tech Finishing School, which is trying to solve the problem that there's lots of people coming out of tech education who just can't get that first break. They're not work ready, haven't got the confidence, they don't have the working experience. So we're setting up loads of live projects for them that they can work on in teams, build their portfolio, get their GitHub up and running, get their LinkedIn profile better, get confident in terms of applying for jobs, and most important, just get the chance to work on live projects and actually be a developer. So if there's anyone in the room again who's looking to recruit, we'll be having people coming out in January, February. Coming into that, we're looking for partners on that. Anyone who wants to set a brief for us to do through that as well. We would love to do that. We'd love to hear from you. Clicker, go. I can actually read my own takeaways. So we've got to tackle the tech skills shortage. This is the main thing for us, and I think in East Sussex, we've got to be focused on how do we do this locally, using all the local talent that we've got, all the businesses that we've got, and actually, you know, I'd encourage you to join Chalk Connect as well, which is run by the brilliant people from, from Switchplane, and who are leading DigiFest. This is a good, they have got a lot of skill stuff going on, so get involved in Chalk is a really good way of doing that. There's many paths to tech careers, look at all of them, be open-minded to who comes into your company, and maybe think about your recruitment and how you open up to more diverse groups, and look at your recruitment processes, and including things around neurodiversity, including things around ethnicity, including things around prior education and skills, and start to think about people who've come from all these different routes and what they can bring. I know one software company that said that 18-year-olds come out of college with their, straight out of school and college and sixth form with their best employees, because they came just so fresh with ideas. So young people can come straight into a company even without a degree. The skills needed all in the room, you guys. You've got all the talent and skills that those students and people learning to get into tech need. The teachers can only take them so far, but the teachers are teaching, you guys are working. So bring your skills into play. And however big or small, get involved. There's so many things that I've just put up on there on the screen. There's so many different ways to get involved. We want to make this as easy as possible for you. So I'm making it really easy. There's a QR code there. If you take a picture of that, and if you want to get involved, you can just put your information down, and we will get in touch with you, and the East Sussex team will get back to you. I'd love to hear from you, and we can find out what works best for your business, and we can speak to the transform people and all that kind of stuff. So I'll leave that up on the screen for a minute. So my company, as I said, is TechNative Digital. Check us out, technativedigital.com. We're doing loads of interesting stuff. If you think, I'm all big for ideas, so if you think there's something that you need for your business around tech and digital that isn't being done, come and speak to me in the break, and I'd love to hear from you. And that's it for me. Thank you. Thank you everyone for your time.